This is the $36.5 million Komenda Sugar Factory. This factory was revamped in 2016. The then President John Dramani Mahama outlined the reasons for the establishment of the factory when he laid the foundation stone to commence the construction in 2014.
When we see the value of our cedi depreciating, it is because we have become an import-happy country. Your currency is as strong as your production.
The factory was subsequently completed and commissioned in 2016 amidst fanfare, but was shut down 2 weeks thereafter. The shutdown of the factory dashed the hopes of many. The inactivity at the factory continued for 6 months before a new government, the Nana Akufo-Addo-led government, took over the reins of power. Residents were anxious to see the factory operationalized so that the promises that were made would be kept.
Ministry of Trade and Industry, strategic investor.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry is still looking for investors. We are reorganizing the operations of the factory.
For the sugar, the type of sugar we can grow here, all those things were not properly organized.
Very soon, you hear something good from us.
This was President Akufo-Addo's promise to the people of Komenda when he paid a working tour to the area in 2018. Subsequently, he assured the people of Komenda and its environs in a radio interview at Eagle FM, a local radio station here in Cape Coast, that a factory that was rusting away would be revamped in the first quarter of 2022.
The project was heavily overvalued. They then went forward to say that in the light of the overvaluation, they are going to look for interested investors to come and bids were brought in, an investor was chosen. All the various demands that he was making, the investor was making, at the end, he wasn't able to meet the conditions precedent. So, contract and right now, the ministry is working in such a way that would be a technical partner, at least to run the factory. Now, according to Chairman and the people in the Ministry of Trade, arrangements are one year, by the first quarter of 2022, now factory is going to start running again. It's a big albatross around the neck of the government, Komenda Sugar Factory.
The factory began to deteriorate. It was rusting away. The bolt and nut separated, and the center was no longer holding. The patience of the people of Komenda got wane and wane. Thousands of hearts here at Komenda have been broken as a result. Many who had hoped to secure a job there or the hope of reviving the local economy here got dashed. President Akufo-Addo again made a promise to the chiefs of Komenda when they paid a visit to the Jubilee House, stating specifically that the factory would be operationalized in April.
Mr. President, I outgrow this at this time because the original land now were allocated for our friend and sugar factory, about 5,000 and over. No, see, them land now about bay if you see, Komenda man was here. Then come find sugar factory protein no ha sugar factory ni ready. Nemum ontumi nya fa entumi nwa ahwede no wo sabi ekrum ho. Na ye wo asase a o wasafiase side ho a ye ne na wasa nana heman yakasa ma wonso waje atomu de time no so for maybe production or sugar cane production na obeyi asasana was a the major man.
Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. As I say planning, Indian phone by whenever by April, production will have begun of the sugar factory. Sugar factory, about the some cassia. Minimum set 1 year, Zukoria, yeah, na aquaba, Yami, Adaruma, Afadia, and say, Mama who said, it's a quan passo, nearby. You see, Yanya may say by April, no, Nanyaman, so, a 2 year, a
The president's latest promise aroused eager eyes here at Komenda, Kisii and its environs, who were desirous to see that at least the promise of the president would be fulfilled. But the month of April has long passed and the factory has not been operationalized.
So this is the Komenda Sugar Factory. It is not in its old self again. It's been painted inside of the factory. A lot of works are being done. They are fixing the bolts and nuts. You could see day and night workers here working vigorously to put the factory back in shape. Hitherto, it was rusting away, but now it is no more the situation. What remains on the drawing table, or what remains questionable, is the source of the raw materials to feed this factory. There have been many talk about where is the source of the raw materials to feed this particular factory.
In and around the factory, some farmers have begun preparing a nursery on some 6-acre land around the factory. Residents of Kisii, Komenda and its environs, who even though have seen some major works at the factory, are unconvinced that the current development and arrangement are for real and sustainable.
Until last 2 months, when we heard the president that last April, which has come, he will come and commission the sugar factory and they will start the operation. We all became happy. But since then, April has gone. We haven't heard anything about it. So we are worried.
Ebusuapeni Kwekwumbio is a sugarcane farmer and a resident of Kisii. He was employed in 1973 to work as an engineer in the defunct Komenda Sugar Factory. He is unconvinced that something better would be done.
I'm saying at Komenda, so almost every day I pass there. I've also seen they are doing some maintenance there. This is what they claim. I've seen the paint work. I've seen putting up defense wall. And they are plowed about 2 acres just on the roadside. We inquire and they said that they want to plant. They are making nursery. Yes, but since then, the field is left, there. So you don't see actually what is happening.
Isaac Kweku, another sugarcane farmer here, says he's seen the works being done at the factory, but his concern is with the raw materials to feed the factory.
I should know you, dear. Still means you doing the NKC. All the government need to provide my farmers, would be assured. When I'm fighting you, still, they be our different stories. They be our different stories. And some of farmers, they be where they would be assured crop is what turning to be. Then there, you need in the BBR. I mentioned the Jumano or Botumaye. Ujumani de Onyada, a Christian Wedi. But then there, the Yeti Hiano or encourage and obey. They want I don't know with Jim would go. Fine, CCSC obey factory. If materials were in our day. Farmers, you are ready to do. We hear the cow that you do, when you be.
The issue of raw materials for the production of the Komenda Sugar Factory was one of the key criticisms of the Mahama-led administration. But when the president was interviewed on the 18th of October 2021 at Eagle FM in Cape Coast, he was convinced that his administration would have handled things differently.
So he went ahead and his strategy was to go ahead and build the factory and then afterwards go and look for the raw materials. I mean, that is against every principle of construction. It's like building a house and saying you're going to start from the roof before you have a foundation. How does the house get built? You're going to start from the roof when you haven't built a foundation.
So as it stands, where will this factory get its raw materials? A member of the board of the new Komenda Sugar Factory and Municipal Chief Executive for the Komenda Edna Egwafo Ebrim Municipality, Solomon Ebuapia, says they would rely on the farmers and also import unrefined sugar and refine it at the factory.
The simple answer to the raw material is that at the moment we've kind of engaged the local farmers around to give us the sugar that growers. They've given us substantial amount of sugar to on 20th, perhaps we could start the test run of the production of the sugar 20th of this month. So what it does mean is that it is not enough. So as we said, we've procured about large tracts of land from Winneba Enclave, such Obuasi. We have 22,500 acres of land, and the Shama Enclave and Komenda for the cultivation of sugar. So just after we are engaging the local farmers who are supplying us the sugar cane, which is not even enough for commercial production. We are importing raw sugar from abroad. The raw sugar means that it is not in consumable states. What does that mean? That we have to refine it. So we are bringing sugar which is in Kumsa 500 or 300, which is not even consumable because it's contaminated. So we will bring those raw material to the factory and we will refine it up to the in Kumsa, the 140, 45, and so on, which all of us can consume. So what we are doing it concurrently. The little that we are having and that of them. So the presumption is that after 1 or 2 or 3 years, what that means is at that time we planted the sugar cane, everything is ready, and we stop importing, and we'll be relying solely on the raw material from our local base.
Solomon Ebuapia says the current arrangement that have been put in place is materially and substantially different from the ones their predecessors did.
And we are relying on the raw material, and concurrently we kind of grow the sugar cane because everything has been said, soil test has been done, and we are poised, and the land has also been secured. I'm able to tell you in confidence that we have 22,500 acres of land in Central Boise area, the Winneba Enclave, and so on and so. So we have the available land that we are going to go for the cultivation and to feed the industry. So far, if the previous government had done what we are doing right now, probably the sugar factory wouldn't have broken down.
For the former board secretary of the Komenda Sugar Factory, Ransford Vaniamwa, the abandonment of the factory for 5 years by the current administration just to adopt the same approach in the handling of raw materials sparks of insensitivity, and they should be charged for causing financial loss to the state.
You cannot just waste 5 years without planting any sugarcane, because you were even telling the whole world that because we did not grow before we built the factory, that is why the factory is not running. So why? The factory is already there over 5 years. You've been in government. You've not grown. But you've started working on this and you are now growing the sugarcane. That is why I'm saying that the government has caused financial loss to the state. Because that 5 years that we wasted, you've created some defect to some machinery or some motors and all, and we are using money to do all these things. That is the bad aspect of what you're doing.
Well, even though the factory is yet to be operationalized, some residents of Komenda have begun boosting their resources. Grace and her colleagues believe they would have made much to support their families if the factory was working as they promised them.
Sisi me ba mo load me ba no sa me pe me okochi me peso a me nko nti yesro ndo won bo he obo na yenso abata ne won boto hen
obodo ba me daw fidaba ma so motu mata bibi so djuma no kwada abe me daw aha ba ye nije akontufo a adwuma ne hentama ebia tutu kwan so adwuma wa ha akontufo baba won ba hwe Komenda o adwuma abohoto wo mayenko akontufo wo na baba ma ebia nanyu age.
The situation here has made many of the youth travel out of the communities to neighboring countries to look for greener pastures. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwadwo, Cape Coast.